Welcome back to Reality Check. Thank you for joining us yet again this week. We have a wonderful conversation lined up for you. If you are a dad, if you are a father figure, if you are a wife, and you want to hear how your partner can be a present dad and husband, this conversation is for you. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, call your neighbors, or if you have some sort of watch party going on, welcome aboard. My name is Rachel. This is Reality Check. And on this channel, we have mental health focused conversations in the areas of family, marriage, relationships, parenting, and the workplace. So if that's your vibe, you are welcome. Give this episode a thumbs up and, of course, leave us a comment. Joining us for this very pertinent conversation is none other than Colin Babirukamu.
Thank you.
Colin is a big man in this country, I tell you. I'm propping you.
By God's grace.
Colin is the Executive Director of IT at Bank of Uganda. He's more importantly a husband and a father. Mm-hmm. I've had the opportunity to have a front row seat to his marriage and family. Just the other day, we were celebrating his daughter, doing big things at the university. And he's here to lend us his insight from his fatherhood journey. And then, of course, Dr. Eva Satrine, who will give us psychological perspective and therapy perspective to this conversation and many other insights. If you love our set, like I'm sure you do, this is courtesy of Ineza Shots. Ineza Shots is they offer services of videography and photography, but also have a space where you can record your content. So please do drop by. They are located in Bukoto at the TMT Atrium building, one of the newer buildings in Bukoto on the 3rd level. So please come by. They have amazing space and, as you can tell, wonderful videography and photography for your functions. That being said, welcome aboard, our guest and Dr. Evas. It's good to see you both. It's now time for me to keep quiet and allow you to speak. Yeah. So, being a present dad and husband. Before that, we were joking that in general we are saying how to be a present family man. But for purposes of specificity, we want to first start, I guess, from you, our guest. What does it really mean to be a present dad and husband? So I'm talking emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and maybe how has it differed as the generations evolve?
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel. And I'm really glad to be here, Dr. Evas, and on the show. First of all, quick caveat in a sense, I am not the perfect husband or the perfect father. I feel like I'm a student of family and a student of presence. And I think presence for me, to be honest, is a calling, because we are really called as husbands and we're called as fathers. And the moment you say, I do, and you get into the covenant, you're actually going into a calling. You're walking into a calling because the Lord has even placed the levels right. And the Bible even clearly talks about the man being the head of the house and the wife submitting to the house. So you're actually a leader, and it's a calling to be a leader. And even for a father, you're also a leader. Whether you're an effective leader or a poor leader, you're still a leader. You're either leading poorly or you're leading effectively, but you're a leader. So I feel strongly that it's leadership. I feel that it's a calling. I feel like it's not something you can opt in and out. And so I feel very much that it's one thing, being a father, but being a present father. It means that you're available there for those small moments, those meaningful moments. You are there for quality time. I'm sure we'll break that down along the way. I'm told ladies love to hear quality time as a love language. Yeah. We'll talk about quality versus quantity time. But basically, you have that as a leadership calling. The absence of your presence, which is being an absentee father or husband, is actually a leadership crisis. Because then you are either, like I said, leading poorly or you are leading effectively, but you're in some form, you're still leading. So that leadership crisis has become a real issue. It's impacted the way children grow up. It's impacted marriages, of course. It impacts communication. I mean, if dad is never around, where is my role model? A son will ask. How do I get in touch with my feelings? A daughter will ask. Because they tap into the father. And presence brings about security. Presence brings affirmation. Presence allows communication. So imagine the absence of that. So for me, in simple terms, really, just being present as a present dad is a calling, is a leadership trait we have to work towards. Whether you get it right is very subjective, or if you get it wrong, you're still leading in some way. But I think being present, and I think we can break that down even further along the discussion. But I think for me, it's a calling, and the absence of your presence is a crisis.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think to your point, when you say, I like how you put that it's a call to leadership, really, and the absence of it is a leadership crisis.
It is a crisis, yeah.
And, aside from a child, a daughter or a son not seeing their role model, or how to build confidence, and whatever it is that fathers do, that cascades down to the nation, to community, and then the nation. So that's why we see lawlessness. That's why we see then men who then become husbands and fathers and are not really leading as effectively as we hope to. So it started from the absence of leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually something that I usually hear. I need to do some homework on it, but the word husband has been said to be the house band. And I don't know if it's really derived from it. Sometimes it's just nice to say, but I think it reminds us that we are the band that holds the house. So imagine the absence of the band. Things fall apart. You can't hold things together in absence. You can't delegate that role. So delegating a calling, absence from a calling is a crisis. And so, but yet there are situations where you can't be present. I mean, husbands have had to leave the country. Husbands are expatriates away. Fathers are away. I mean, I'm sure there are outlier exceptions we can discuss, but by and large, your presence is key for the growth of the family.
Absolutely. Dr. Eva, share your thoughts.
Thank you, Collins. And I like what you mentioned as a call to leadership. You can be called to something and you do not accept.
Yeah, you reject the call.
Yeah, I'm saying my brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a call. That's number one. But number two, that you don't have to be perfect. No. It's learning on the job.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Yes. Work in progress.
And we just have to offer that grace to ourselves, but also receive it from our partners. Even me as a psychologist, I don't expect a perfect dad.
Yeah.
And they're not there because we don't have perfect humans.
That's true.
So that's okay. But the thing is, do you accept? So that call. Now, call to leadership. I've always said here, let me repeat it, that our children don't look to moms as models of leadership. Every time I say that, people say, "What do you mean?" So no, that's true. Psychologically, a child does not look to the mom as a source of leadership. They look to the mom as a source of care. Okay? They don't look to the dad as a source of care. No, an emotional support.
No, it's not. Even to the wife.
There are certain unique, and please the key word is unique. So there are certain unique contributions of a dad, which Colin has alluded to, that if the dad is not present, then they are going to be missing in the life of a child. And if parents are not intentional about taking care of this, because there's so many instances where a child may not have a dad. So that's acknowledged. Divorce, death, and all that. But even in those circumstances, from a psychology standpoint, we encourage that children are connected to a model, a father figure, so that they can learn certain things
From the
from
father.
others. So, Collins has talked about leadership. A child or in a family, normal family, always looks for dad
For leadership.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay? So whether you're a poor dad or whatever, that's okay.
But they're looking for it's some form of leadership.
So even in schools where they still ask some of these questions of who is the leader in your home, children don't say mama. Yeah, especially when there's a dad presence. So leadership, children learn it from dads. To an extent that even when children grow, you talked about a crisis.
Yeah.
Now we are seeing a crisis, by the way,
Yeah.
in the workplace. We have people from generations that haven't seen a leader at home, and so they don't have a concept of submission to leadership and authority.
So actually, it's impacting.
Yes, it's impacting already. So we have people in the workplace who now all of a sudden they meet a leader who is saying certain things to them and say, you have to follow this guideline, this is how things work. They go like,
Who are you?
you're not my father. Because the father wasn't present and didn't say things. So they don't have that concept. They don't have a sense of authority. So that's number one. Number two, dads are symbols of courage. Courage.
My dad can do that.
I shared here two little boys that were arguing over the strength of their dads. And then one of them said, hey, you don't know my dad. My dad is so strong, he can carry an elephant. My dad is like a lion. You know, so that's how they don't see mom as an elephant. No, mom is scary. So dads are symbols of courage.
That's very powerful.
And this is rooted even in the way we interact with children. Look at dads play with children. They don't get them to comb their dogs. No, they say, oh, let's do this. Especially when they are boys. Courage, you can't do this. That is important because we need courageous generations and children who know that they have a resilience. They can actually do things. Games that you guys play. You jump here, do there, you not died, you're okay. Now. So that courage is important. So you don't want to have these wimpy boys now who see women and say, am I strong enough? But much of it, when we are doing psychoanalysis, we see that it's coming from an absentee dad for whatever reason. And because dad wasn't in to cheer them. You know, when dad says, go, then you know you can make it. I've always shared here, let me be vulnerable again. When I was young, my entire family, I didn't know how to fight. I didn't know how to, up to now, I don't know how to fight. I didn't fight, and my dad was always worried.
That's right.
He called me by my surname. So he always said, cousin, I'm really worried about you. And so he said, why don't you fight? I said, but man,
I don't know.
why should I fight someone? And one time he set me up to fight a certain Muchiga girl.
How did that go? I can speak for my people. It's complicated.
Because he said, you can actually beat that. That was his way of training.
Training wheels,
And every time I came home, he said, did you try? I did. And you try. That kaka,
you can beat her.
Story for So it didn't work so well. But yes, that's how dads train children, both girls and boys. Specifically in respect to boys, sons don't look to moms as models. No, they look to dads as a model of a strong person. And so they know, if I grow up, I want to be like daddy. Now just imagine you're a poor leader there, not present, no one. But then the child is looking for you. So a symbol of relationships even, because boys learn from their dads regarding how to treat women. Conversation for
So role model. But you must be present to be as a father.
Yes,
To,
they need to see how you treat people and especially how you treat your partner. Boys specifically learn to treat their wife and their dads.
okay, I'm noting that down.
You see? So that is important. Girls learn to relate with the opposite sex from dads. And they benefit a lot from the conversations of dads telling them about how men treat women.
Ah, yeah.
Interesting.
I noticed my daughter's asking me a lot of those questions. So now I know their plan. I know their motive. Yeah. So they're learning from.
And so usually if you've noticed, when girls are growing, they really want to connect with this man and say, Daddy, if a boy does this, you know,
What can I do?
My husband has always he had conversations with the daughters. And I remember one time we had a conversations about this is how men lie to girls. And later on, years later, the daughter is in uni, and so he calls and says, Daddy, really, I met a guy at the bus stop, and he said he loves me so much. Can he That's
Yeah.
How can someone
Love you
so much, even without knowing the second name? She sees, so she had.
Yeah.
So they learn that from their dads, and dads, they believe dad is going to give me an honest view.
Yeah.
Now, so we're talking about a present dad.
Yeah.
Present dad is an involved dad. So it's not about show up.
Yeah.
Show up
Is okay. Yeah.
But be involved in
In the moment.
conversation in the moment. Listen to your children's feelings. How do they feel? If they were belittled, how do you boost their confidence? How do you boost their confidence? Because one of the things I forgot is that dads are symbols of security. In whichever way. That's why dads close doors.
Yeah.
They're the ones
Who sleep last?
who sleep last.
Check every bolt.
Everything. Source of security.
Daily getting that is not a good thing to your wife, huh? Wife, go and check what's happening outside. I heard a sound. Can you go and check? So you're present, but you're not.
But you're not involved.
intentional.
Yeah.
Not
So
involved,
children also look to their dads as a source of emotional protection. Protection. Dad is going to protect me from whoever is going to hurt me. You see? So those are key. They are key. They are hard drive. Is it what? Software.
Yeah. It's still on hard drive.
It's a hard drive.
But then the software within is the mom that nurtures the human element which we've ever talked about.
Yes, yes.
But at that, when they are missing, it's like a child exposed to, like
Anything.
the ozone layer is removed, and so they are just taking all this heat that is supposed to protect us from, but also to show me how to do things, because as a leader, you need to be guiding these people. Now that's why when you mentioned something that I remember, some dads who are leading from behind, you can't lead from behind. You need to be in front and then lead children, lead your family where it's supposed to.
Every leader needs followers to be a leader. So leading from behind is. Yeah.
So we've established that dads are called to leadership. We've established what they bring to the table in terms of this leadership role and the importance of them showing up and being involved. I also know that, and we've probably all witnessed in our different circles, that dads/husbands are struggling to show up, or maybe in the way they show up in their homes and in their families. And so I want us to talk about some of whether it's societal expectations or stereotypes or even mental health challenges that are affecting men in how they show up as husbands and as fathers. Let's talk through some of those things. And I think some of them have become normalized in our homes. Maybe the way as wives we address our husbands. Before we came on the air, we were talking about a concept that I only just found out happens to men, which is the Andropause, yes, similar to menopause for women, and it's an entire phenomenon. A man is going through a thing, and so as a wife, if I don't know that it's even a possibility, the way I handle you might be more damaging than helpful. So let's talk a bit about what are some of those expectations, stereotypes that affect how men show up both as a father and as a husband.
Well, I think there are a couple of stereotypes society has placed on us. And so there is the heavy providence. So let's say that there's a time where presence versus providence, or presence versus provision. You've been called to be a provider. So men and husbands or family men are providers, they are priests, but they're also partners. I call it the 3 Ps, right? So, and we need to raise our boys to be priests, providers, and then also partners. And even the word Abba in the Hebrew was really Abba Father, who is provider and protector. It's that big. All those are P's, really. So from a spiritual perspective, we are providers. We're also protectors. We are security. We are the house band. And everybody expects that from us. But the men are also going through their own challenges. And where do the men run to when they're supposed to be house bands, supposed to be providing, and they're indebted, for instance? All right, let's talk about the mental health aspect. Some of the biggest triggers for men and the mental health right now is debt. It is financial. If you called 20 men here, I'm sure Dr. Evers might have a better statistic. But out of 10 men, I suspect who are going through mental challenges, I suspect about 8 to 7 will be financial. And they will raise their hands and say, we're struggling. How do I go home? And because what is being said is that I am the provider. Everyone's expecting something when I get home. You must come out of the taxi or of the border or out of your car with buveras of bread house. Okay? Bread house bread. You must come home with something because you're the provider. Daddy has come back. But time and time you come home with nothing. So, are you still the provider? How are you going to be present? You find men who are actually trying to stay away from home because they can no longer be that the family thinks they should be, which is the providence side. So I suspect that mental health has been challenged also by some of these triggers from the financial side. But I mean, it's a calling. So even though you are struggling, you need to get home and in a sense, work through it, but be there. But that's easier said than done, because I can tell you many men are struggling. Sometimes you come home, and this doesn't happen for me and my dear wife and children, I must say this openly. But sometimes if you went home like most men, you come home and there's even no welcome. There's no appreciation.
I've heard that before,
There's no kulikayo daddy, that old thing, daddy akomeo, when all the kids came out, hugged you, picked the boveras you had, helped you with your rugged laptop bag or something, and no one comes. They're all in the house. You walk in. For some houses, I'm told, you walk in and the wife says, the food is, just continue and see if there's anything left. I don't know if that's extreme, but it happens. Because I talk to men quite a bit. So men don't find the home also welcoming. They don't find the home conducive for them to come home. They're going through their own mental health challenges, but the home has ceased to become an environment for them to come home to. Sometimes you want to come home, honestly, to a loving wife. You want to come home to a wife who says, sit down and, sit for a moment. What do you need? Bring something for daddy. Or at least you bring it. And I'm not asking for all the women to get into that whole mode, but we love that once in a while. We love to be pampered a little after a long day. Imagine you've had a long day at work. You come home and your wife does not have any care, or even the kids, about how you're doing. The Bible actually talks about a quarrelsome wife. It's another thing that now I'm actually turning it around, unfortunately. I'm saying that women and wives really must make a conducive environment for the husband to come home to. Because the man is going through his mess at work. Mental health challenges. There are 3 things I keep saying. Men are sad because they are stressed, they are anxious, and they are depressed. SAD. So there are many sad husbands and there are many sad fathers because they are stressed financially. They are anxious about the future. Many of the USAID workers have no jobs right now. We have a crisis, Evas. Many qualified qualified, the best of the best in Kampala are at home right now. These are providers. They are seated. They've been having jobs for the last 15 years, and now they're jobless, and they can't be employed in our slightly small economy. So they are sad fathers, sad husbands. You come home to a quarrelsome wife. The Bible talks about, I think Proverbs 25:24, it talks about that a man would rather be, paraphrased, in the corner of a rooftop than to sleep or to stay with a quarrelsome wife. I think Proverbs 19 talks about a quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping. Can you imagine? It's actually a form of torture.
Yes.
In some places, they just do a drip constantly and you're tortured. So men are being tortured and the environment is not right for them. So if you talk about mental health and presence, I know a friend of mine, I'm now just bringing live examples. A friend of mine used to go to the apartment block where they lived as a young husband, and because he dreaded his wife so much, he would park the car and keep watching the lights of the apartment. The lights go from the sitting room, they go to the bedroom, he waits a few minutes because, she won't sleep right away. He's got to wait like 30 minutes and say, by now she's in the first dream. Then he sneaks into the house and enters the bed because he would rather be in the car for the first 1.5 hours waiting for the lights to go down than face his quarrelsome wife. Now, I'm not trying to flip this onto the wives, but wives can also can create a wonderful environment for husbands and fathers to come home and to be present. But on the other side of things is that the stereotypes really are heavily around providence, in my view. Husband, of course, has got to be available, but he's wondering, I'm trying to be available, but I've also got to provide. So I want to stay back and close another deal. I've got to go and do another gig. I've got to go and do something up to 9 p.m. and come home. So you come back tired. Your wife is grumbling because you're absent, but she also needs the holiday over Christmas. Do you know how many fathers are stressed about Christmas right now? Is this October right now? We're in October, right?
Yes.
Let me announce to you, husbands are already stressed. We're thinking Christmas. How do we, because a father who cannot provide a quasi Christmas for the children, experience some new clothes and an experience, or at least the right food of the day, you just feel completely Dubai. Oh man, don't even mention that. When I hear that, already there are jitters. So just to tell you about the stereotypes, provision versus presence. How do you find that balance? How do you remain the provider with a quarrelsome home, for instance? How do you find that balance? So it's a constant juggle in my view, and it's clear and present. But one of the things I also found was that every time I am present, it seems my children valued the experiences more than the expenses.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they still talk about things we did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Daddy, when we were at this place, and I'm thinking,
I didn't even
big
spend
deal.
much money.
It wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
And so the Dubai things may be nice, but they remembered some very basic things. They remembered my presence, the moments that we created. And so I think fathers also have to realize that you've got to come out of the big bash expensive, but be there. So it's the quality of your presence, just being there and being intentional. Of course, money facilitates that, guys. We need money to facilitate rememberable moments. But I remember my own moments with my father, who was present, by the way, and my mother. It was always the quality moments. It was always their presence and not the presence.
Not the presence.
Okay,
Yes,
it was
yes.
presence. It was experiences versus expenses.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, for instance, brought a birthday cake to Ntare School where I was. Every birthday, if it was a Tuesday or a Sunday or Monday, for 6 years. I was in the same school, 5 hours away. She got onto a bus or drove or something. She had a cake she didn't miss one birthday. And now I am a man turning 40, not far from now, 50 rather, and I still remember that. My mother drove, came in a bus, she brought a cake, 6 years in a row. That was a present mother. So anyway, I think our presence is very key in creating that. Yeah.
And before you come in, Dr. Evans, I just wanted to say how that juggle between presence and provision is such a real wrestle. And now that I hear you talk about it, I'm thinking about how the lack of providence keeps men away. Whether it's society or just the way you are wired as men, even if you're telling me, oh, just be available, be involved, be present. And he's thinking, man, I can't even buy a pint of milk, you know, I can't even buy a lollipop. So I'd rather stay away, you know. And so it becomes like a catch-22. You can win some points by being present, even though you don't have money. But then they're thinking, I don't have money. I'd rather just stay away, you know. So it's like, let me completely lose time with my child.
Yeah, you're escaping from that reality, but you're actually worsening the family situation. I think you'd rather be home. But that's easier said, I said. Easier said than done.
You see, thank you, Colin. I think what you mentioned, I got scared when you were explaining how us women we do things.
How we create this environment.
So my gender, please listen. I think that's really key. However, definitely, I encourage people to find out what is this woman worrying about. Yeah, because sometimes, I'll be honest with you, it's an issue of avoidance.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, as you have mentioned, when culture, number one, culture hasn't trained them to relate. They trained them to provide. You see, I do remember with a certain family in my generation that had a son, and whenever there were things like birthday celebration, and one time I picked it up with them, they would come without their son. And young children. And so one time I said, where is he? They say, those things are for women. Now, a bigger part of it is rooted in the way we have been groomed. Because you see, all these things are relational. A dad knowing that I need to be present in the life of my child.
It's coming from,
it's a relational issue. You know, I need to know how to guide my child. I need to be home to listen to my wife. I need to be present to provide security, knowing that when I'm there, child feels emotionally. How many men say they don't know emotions? They say they have
those things of feelings, huh?
Those things of feelings. But you see, life is at that level. That's why you're talking about how mom wrote this. You're not remembering whether the cake was chocolate fudge or caramel. No, you're remembering that mom cared. How do you interpret that action? Someone valued you. They cared so much. And they got on a bus. They did that. That made me feel valued. That's what it means. This is memorable. So society hasn't trained men to relate and create memorable moments in the lives of their families. And so there is this whole thing about providence. Provide. Now, Collins, I'll tell you, this also has been looked at in a skewed manner. Provision is not just money, it's not just kafera. And of course, this has been misunderstood by both men and women.
For sure.
That's why when we've talked about here, women who are hiding their money, and they're saying, you're the one to provide. And you've had me as women. So you are the same currency. So what is your man supposed to do? They have no idea. And they say, no, it is his role. So this is misunderstood by both men and women. And that's why we are stuck. Because people are still stuck in a world that no longer exists. You see, because when I was growing up, my uncles, not my dad, they came to Uganda to work. You know, to work to support their families. And men would struggle because it was a primary thing to provide survival. But we are no longer just in survival mode. No. And anyone can provide if you wish. So they are
it's a partnership.
It's a partnership. Because now resources, economic resources are going to both men and women. That's why we are stuck, because no one has come out to say, guys, the message has changed. That's why it's the man. So, unfortunately for men, of course, there's a little conversation for women, please, now it's a partnership. But there are so many women who mean well, who really bring money to the table, but still bring it to a struggling man who still thinks they are the ones. I want to guarantee. But we sat here with 100 men and asked them, what's your primary role in the family?
To provide.
I can bet they 100% would say to provide. Because no one has given them an alternative message. You see? So provide. It provides leadership as well. Yes, leadership is providing. It's providence. You know, emotional security, protecting your family is providence. You see? But no one has talked about that. That's why I have so much kindness and grace extended to men, because we have kept them out of the conversations around leadership, around, you know, this is when you're in the presence of your children, this is what it means, this is what it means, these are the benefits, and this and this and that. And then we come out to accuse them. We say, only these men, honestly, these men, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you? You cannot teach someone by accusation. You can't. I feel the world has been so unfair to men because we haven't changed the message. How many men know that provision is beyond
money?
So they've been boxed into
financial.
And then we come out and say, what's the strategic plan for your family? They go like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
You get a running stomach. I am thinking about today. Now, the food and yaka for today. You eat this year. And then, 5 years from now, roadmap.
And then men are like, wait a minute.
What is that?
and women are kind. Oh, some of us are not really kind. We come out and say, manna, what kind of manna you? So then have this guy.
And just goes
there.
And for instance, in my work, I meet so many men, and I just get, it's so heartbreaking because women are throwing such things at them. They're saying, what are you doing? What kind of man are you? What kind of leader? Tell us a strategic plan. Then the man is like, but what kind of leader are you? They question leadership and they're questioning your leadership colleague. And then you remember, but I'm an executive director. I meet them, they say, but I'm a good leader. I'm in office. So how come
I'm doing my best.
But now the most important person in your life is just questioning you. And so, but where is this whole structured, intentional grooming of a man to meet this? To be a good guy. When I've also met some men who will say, you know, when my wife gets a child, they have to go to a different room. Because I don't know when they met me, I don't know how to carry a child.
Pampers. They call it curry.
But now, he's a dad. I know one who was saying, me, I don't carry a child until they are about 3 months. And I told him, I said, who will carry your child? A couple of years later, they have a child and I see they are walking around. And I'm thinking, imagine you're learning on the job early, but no.
They want the good baby stages. The very early ones, but presence.
Your culture has betrayed us. But you know, every time someone tells me culture, I say, which one? Which culture? Because you know, most of the time, we go to culture to pick things that are going to reinforce our bad manners, our selfishness, and all that. And when we are failing, we say culture allows me because we are trying to get a decent way out of an issue. But this whole invisible culture, which actually now, because culture evolves.
It does,
Culture should evolve. All culture should evolve. It should be responsive to emerging realities. You cannot keep in a place where my dad was the provider, but now you have no job.
Right.
That's why men are stressed. Because where we are now, even workplaces are saying women are particularly encouraged to apply. When you're meeting with women, they get the job. You're in the workplace, a woman is supervising. It is being stuck in a world that no longer
exists. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So that those stereotypes,
Yeah.
people have to question them. I've always encouraged people, please challenge these stereotypes.
But there's something, I don't know if I, pardon my interjection, the involvement, I didn't want to lose that point because men choosing to be involved, because it's easy, like a childbirth, because you talked about the whole push the mother and the baby to another room, but husbands have to be tactful. You know, we've always grumbled as young fathers when the wife is a young mother, her focus is on the baby. We feel left out. You know, we're also babies, huh? Please don't forget that. We're your firstborns. We want to be pampered. But now, your mother, the wife, is now fully focused on the baby. But I found, in my view, in my experience, and you know, my wife, of course, was focused on the baby. There's milk not coming, milk is coming through. There's all sorts of things, colic, not sleeping. Being involved was key. And I think that's also very key for presence. So I learned, I became a pamper expert now. Diaper expert, wipes. I knew how to, I can, even in my sleep, I think, because I would have a morning drive to work, but 2 a.m. when the baby cries, my dear wife, and we agreed, which is okay, she'd wake up and say, your baby is crying. Your baby. Because the whole day she's had the baby. Now she says, your baby is crying at 2 a.m. I would gladly wake up. Of course, sometimes I'm like, in the morning I have to get up, but I love the fact that I would get up. Change the baby. It was always wetness. It was always the usual. They have soiled their pampers, change it a bit, clean it up, do a colic curry. I even know the whole colic curry. Maybe you're watching TV, but you're doing a colic curry. About an hour later, you go back to bed, everybody wins. And I won so many points for my dear wife by just being involved. And then I was always with her every time she went to the theater. You know, many men tell me, I'm always called in when the baby is born. But I think presence should start right there as a father. I've been to 3 theaters experiences and 4 theaters, we could say. You know, one was delivery, normal delivery, and the others were C-section. But every single one of them, I was in there, fully garbed and ready. So I think presence is key.
It begins there.
And involvement.
100%.
Yeah.
You just remind me when our firstborns are twins. And when they were born, it was an experience.
Yes.
Baptism by fire.
Oh my God, baptism by fire. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I remember how my husband was so involved right from before they came. And so
those are points, huh?
Yes, yes, so many. And I remember like the first time I got to know that I was expecting twins, I was so confused. Right, and you know what to do. I had never had anyone my age have kids. And it was overwhelming for me. And right from there, he said, "Oh, twins, those are riches." So he said, I've never had a sorrow without big truck. And so he started there, and he was an involved dad, and touching the tummy and all that. He was present when I gave birth, and for the first year, I didn't baby the children.
Oh.
He did.
Wow.
Okay.
He always found a way.
I'll write that down.
For the twins.
And
Is it too late for me?
Maybe.
So that's where attachment
Starts.
Yeah, it starts there.
Yeah.
And now I know there are so many men or dads desperate to connect with their children, but attachment is in physical contact. You know, so it begins there. You need to get involved. Now you mentioned that dads not invited to participate and all. That's true. But and again, I've mentioned that as women, sometimes you don't know how to ask for help. You know, we just work. You're the one changing. Then you are angry. Then you're snapping. But you have this guy hasn't grown up carrying dolls. They don't know what to do, and you're not involved in them. So yes, those stereotypes are they're real. And so we need to encourage you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even as we talk about being a present dad and being a present husband, I think it's important to acknowledge the partnership between the husband and the wife. And I guess that's where the present husband comes into play, because I think it takes the two of you then creating an environment where your children can really derive value from a present dad.
Yeah.
Mom, I guess, is already there because, well, I have carried this child for how many months and I'm kind of already in the nitty-gritty of things. But that partnership creates a very nice bedrock for present dad. You know? So the partnership with the wife, I think, is very important. Oh, please, go ahead.
So many dads who looking for the
right word.
Who, when the child comes, they feel a sense of competition.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're threatened, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that the involvement in terms of helping your wife kind of counters
That's practical now. You've got to respond by getting involved, being relevant.
Yes.
You've got to be relevant, otherwise you'll be left on the side. I mean, she's busy, let's face it. She's suddenly busy with a new reality, and you better be relevant.
But I think she wants is to be orienting a new
person.
because she's already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's a matter of I'm here.
Yeah.
Do you need any help?
How can I help
How can I help you?
Yeah.
The challenge we're having is that imagine like now I've gotten twins, and then my husband is also positioning themselves there to be a firstborn. Come on,
I know.
because honestly, you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You're not sleeping. This cries, another one cries, and you're there confused.
And then you have that bigger
Honestly,
one.
like, don't tell me you're the first.
Then there's a big baby. There's a big baby in the room saying, "What about me?"
You know, interesting. When you mentioned it, I just had a conversation with my daughter recently. We were talking about exactly the same thing, and she asked me because she said, "Mommy, I was having a conversation with this guy, and so we talked about having children, and then he mentioned that for him, when you get a child, then you have to consider that he's a firstborn." I'm like, run away.
Red flags.
Red flag.
Because you see, honestly, like this wife needs help.
Yeah.
The best question you can ask is, do you need help? You see, and what can I do to support you?
Yeah.
That's where it all begins. That's where presence begins. And then when you do that, you're killing two birds with one stone. You're showing to your wife that you're such a good human, and you care about her and about her being fatigued and overwhelmed, and you're trying to really support her as much as you can. But at the same time, you're also connecting with your child.
Yeah.
You know? So in a way, you're becoming
It's a
a great
win-win.
husband
And a great dad. Yeah, for sure. It's a win-win.
I
Let's talk about society and where we are at in terms of valuing fathers or fatherhood. And then I guess in response, nurturing it. I think we talk a lot about absentee dads.
Yes.
We talk a lot about runaway dads. We talk a lot about men abandoning their families.
Yeah.
What do you think society is trying to communicate, I guess, about the role or the importance of a father or fatherhood? Where are we in society? And we can extend it even globally. Where are we in terms of valuing fatherhood and then nurturing it?
I mean, fathers, it's a dilemma for us because, again, provision comes back. Financial provision comes back. I think you can't define a father without talking about financial provision. And because provision has been a challenge right now for many fathers, they are absentee, they are hovering, there are countries where there are many baby mamas, neighboring countries. I don't want to name them, right? Yeah. But there are countries where you find many baby mamas because the men run. Of course, in the US, it's common, right? The men father and run because they father and sense its responsibility. All right? When you father, sudden responsibility comes, the man runs away. And I keep telling men as much as possible that be careful being called a father. Because being a father means you've got to provide. You've also got to be able to protect. You've got to be able to be present. You've got to be a priest. You know, and so if you can't do that, then be careful where you spread your genes, where you're taking your genes, because they will bring about human beings who need that responsibility. And so I think society has been clear that husbands, fathers have generally not understood their their role. And it hits us because we get more and more stressed. You're thinking, what is enough? When is enough enough? You know, by the way, by God's grace, we're making 20 years of marriage to my sweetheart. We were been together for 25 years. And I met her at the university. And I had to wait 5 years because she was a medical student. Yeah, you know the story very well. And so I better value that waiting because I paid a price. I waited 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year, internship. And you know, she also waited for me anyway. And it's been a partnership, I'll tell you, my wife and I. So whenever I hear people saying, my money, I really worry for them. Because the way society has made it look like, you guys. In fact, my wife and I call it financial infidelity. Financial infidelity. And we talk about financial intimacy.
It seems allowable to women, not to men.
It's discussed in women's groups. Your money, be careful. Have a business continuity plan. What if the man goes away? You better have your units for rental. So she has titles in her names.
As if she have a partnership with God regarding who is going to go far.
Yeah, you never know what's going. But one of the things I did for me was that when my wife joined me, I said that every property, whatever small properties that I had at the time, I put them in both our names. And that's been the case all the way. Even to a property in Rukunjiri. I am saying that we have a home in Rukunjiri right now, you're going to be, it's a partnership. And that has also eased the pressure that I have. Because she knows that her money is our money. My money is our money. And that our money was being inculcated in us since our marriage counseling. The first day we began marriage counseling, we were told, this money you're bringing together is our money. It is your money together. And so there are days that I'm not doing well financially. And my wife chips in. And she just says, relax, Colin, I've got this. And I feel so blessed. I feel, because she's a woman of means. She is possibly more educated than I am. She's been well trained. So assuming that her money is going to be overused for what? So that partnership comes together. So I think society has been rough on us. It almost squarely puts it just on us. But yet again, we also love the providence bit. We love to leave money for Kameza, if you want to call it. You feel like
it gives you a sense of accomplishment.
I've got this. Don't worry. I've got this. But behind all those men, I'll tell you, is you've got to have that buddy that you can call and borrow from.
Sure.
Men always have that buddy, and they won't tell you as wives, by the way. So when that phone call comes as a young husband, I tell people this all the time, that phone call is worth about 400,000 shillings. The young mother calls you for Pampers, she calls you for wipes, and she calls you for what? SMA, and whatever it's called. It's something popular, right? But all that together is a 400,000 shilling phone call at 5 p.m. before you get home. So any young father is always thinking, how is this going to crack? So you better have your friend. There's that buddy of yours who you call, and there's a way you even first talk before asking for money. There's a way you first cough and you're like, by the way, I need a bailout. But you have to have those friends who will lend you money on the fly without judging you, because men are constantly stressed, especially from the financial side. So society has just said, provide. Our kids are going to school? The neighbors are talking about their kids going to a particular school. What about us? More pressure, right? Christmas is coming. People are going to where? Is it Dubai? And whatever. What's the plan? At least, okay, take us to the village. But even the village is expensive, I'll tell you.
Can we always go to the village?
We need to go somewhere.
Why is the village all... That has come from her. The women shouldn't come from me. That's come from a fellow woman. Because women are saying, but change it a bit, tweak it a little bit, give us some more oomph. Those are dollar signs. Dollars. No longer shillings now. It's now moved into Kenya shillings and dollars.
Oh my goodness.
And that is stress building up on a man. And so society has basically said, provide, whatever means provide. Many men begin stealing around this time, towards Christmas. Be careful on the street right now. The thieves are coming out now. Phones are being grabbed. Husbands, I can tell you, and fathers are looking for Christmas. It's a strange phenomenon. They're all under pressure to do whatever it takes to bring money to the table. So I think society has been a bit rough on us, yet the boy child has not necessarily been trained for these scenarios. The woman has been trained, but the guy is outside playing. He is on free range. He is just a lousy guy, and I'm told he's allowed. So the boys are being trained for responsibility. Suddenly you man up, you've got children, you've got a wife waiting at home, and there's expectation of presence, providence, being a priest. Some guy says, what do you mean being a priest? How? How do I lead an altar? A man is stressed by, what do you mean by an altar? What's the agenda for the altar? I don't even know how to sing. I don't know how to do what, because men have been told you have to be a priest. And it is true. But have I been trained to be a priest? How about just leading and creating atmosphere for a fellowship and telling somebody, read a verse, you sing a song, just providing that leadership and presence is enough. You don't have to sing yourself. But most husbands are now stressed. The thought of leading a family altar, they're already stressed. So honestly, it is society has been rough. But I'll tell you, without quickly forgetting this, is that presence has been for me very critical. Just watching the way my son responds to my presence. When I go to his soccer competitions or something, and even if I arrive late, I've got to make sure that I scream. He's got to hear my voice because he wants affirmation. The moment he sees his dad, even the energy increases. I see him telling his friends, he points and says, that's my dad.
That's my dad.
My dad is here.
Everything. Yeah.
And whenever I was there, at some time of my life, I was working Oracle in Nairobi, but I had time on my hands. I was there for every child's PTC, Primary Teachers Conference. I was there for every competition. And guess what? They knew me, and my kids to tell me that, all the kids know that your father is always there. The kids would brag about their father's presence. Guess what? Right now, I'm not as
popular.
Available.
As
and
available.
The kids kind of tell me when I miss these things, but they valued that presence. So society has told us that being a man is just about the money. Being present is not a very big deal. Your parents mine will tell you, but I'm providing. What's your problem? I have paid rent. DSTV is working. Your school fees is paid. What do you want from me? And we're always telling our wives, what do you want? Because women, for them, you can bring all the money, but they want QT. They want quality time. So anyway, that's another whole topic. But society will tell you, women will tell you, we want quality time. Yeah. My wife tells me, look at me sometimes, and I'm like, now, what's going on?
What is happening?
Says, look me in the eye. It's called emotional
deep in the eye.
Yes. Let's connect. Now I'm a trigger man. I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm saying, I mean, what do you want from me right now? I've just paid the bills. I'm saying, no, the bills are done. But I want to connect with you. And I wasn't trained to look people in the eyes, to be honest. Nobody told me, young man, look in the eyes. Nobody told me. I just did what I was doing. But now my wife is requesting me to look in the eye and connect.
Pressure.
Now the trigger man is thinking, this is going. But the moment I learned that, though, it changes the picture.
Yes.
Presence is everything. It's a gift. You can give every day, by the way.
For sure.
It's an affordable gift. Presence is an affordable gift. You can give it every single day if you're intentional.
If you're intentional.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have something.
I think if you ask society, have we made progress? I would say ish.
Yeah.
I think there is some semblance of stuff, everyone, and coordinated things. Father's Day here. Here. But I feel, and I strongly feel, we've not been intentional. Now, it's such a contradiction. Because we cannot say men are the bedrock of society, and they are. They are holding families together. And all the things we've talked about, if we have men as leaders of families, then we are assured of a stable society. So I still feel we have so much expectations put on men without investing in men. You see? And that's why we have we have so many men who are running away from an empowered woman. I've always asked my brothers, what is an empowered woman? What is empowerment? Empowerment is training. It's perspective. Empowerment is not money. And any lady that is listening, empowerment is not money only. No, money is just a small element. It is empowerment is how you negotiate. It is how you communicate. It's how you solve
manage relationships.
It's how your ability to listen. That's empowerment.
And men are afraid, of course.
Yes.
No, so that's why we have so many men running. You see, men have adopted an approach of avoidance. Avoidance That's the approach they use in
It's the enemy of
relationships.
presence, right?
Yeah, because if my family says I'm not good enough, let me just keep in the back. If I have a challenge at home and I'm not able to solve a problem with my partner, let me be at home. Now, you remind me to talk about the quarreling.
Quarrel some way.
Those are, by the way, the Bible scripture. We have generally we have this habit of hijacking scripture and use it to our advantage. And these are some of the scriptures that are really abused because men, they will cause a situation at home, but instead of engaging
And dealing with it.
They
then
disappear.
they say, "Oh, I would rather stay in the back and live with a quarrel someone." I always ask them, "What is this woman quarreling over?" Probably it's your absence.
Yes.
You don't solve absence by running again.
That's true.
You see? And so the thing is, who has told men that yesterday I was counseling a guy who has failed to manage a situation and now it
Has grown legs
branches.
and wings.
And then he's stuck. He's now stuck, he's depressed. And so it started as one problem, now it has so many branches. But then I was asking him, why don't you solve it?
So he can't confront it.
He can't confront it. And then he says, my wife is too strong for me. And he said, if I bring it up, my wife is very strong. I said, that's okay. But do you know what to say? And I ended up telling him, you're going to say this and you're not going to die. No, and he laughed. But you see, those are simple skills. Life management, relationship management is an empowerment. And so all these things you have talked about, leadership, modeling good behavior, talking to your child, doing small things. I mean, how much is holding your child's hand and you walk? Does that cost money?
It is a big deal.
That's affordable.
How much is it? How much does it cost to look at your wife, look your wife in the eyes, and do you know
Appreciate her.
And I'm going to do this experience, by the way, another exercise when we start our group sessions. We've always asked partners to look each other in the eyes and see how many of them can maintain
eye contact. Yes.
Just in the first few seconds, you see someone
Looking down.
They've been battered, there's been some history.
Courage to look someone in the eyes and appreciate them and say, I really love you. How many men can do that? They always say, do you love me? If I didn't love you,
Hey.
not that kind. That's where life is. And when we
Relational.
talk about relational, life is relational. But for me, I really have a concern. I feel society is unfair to men. You cannot disempower man and want them to lead. What are you saying? Because leadership is a skill. Leadership is a skill.
So you must be taught.
You must be taught. I've heard people say leaders are born. That's not true. The born thing is so small.
You have to expand on it.
You have to help to. Leadership is about courage. It's about decision making. It's about critical thinking. It's about all these things. How much time have you taken to help you, the men and sons, to learn those skills? You see, we have a character building training, and these are some of the skills we teach. And every time we are talking to boys, in their boys mentorship corner, we help them understand that these are skills they need. Can you engage? Engage. Ask questions. Seek clarity. That's how you're going to manage relationships. I'm strongly convinced society is apt today, not intentional. Let me ask a question. Have you noticed how we celebrate Father's Day? It is some semblance of stuff here, stuff there, but think about Women's Day.
Mother's Day.
It's a women, it's talking, this is what has
Father's Day is generally forgotten often. And then I think there are 2 of those days, and it's very confusing.
How many fathers get gifts on Father's Day? We say, no.
They'll be fine.
Men, they'll be fine. They do.
They're the ones supposed to give, so Really?
Supposed to be.
Society has been very,
Yes.
very unfair
Yes,
to men.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've been thinking about advocating
Please do.
for men.
We need help.
For men, because how can we just leave a man's things slip away?
Yeah.
And then we say, men, we're supposed to do that.
And it becomes a national crisis, not just a family crisis.
Absolutely.
It's a national crisis.
Yeah.
It's the men who are leading in particular areas, but these are men who struggled in their upbringing. They're men who can't lead their own homes, and now
they are
leading a
leading.
district.
Yes.
He's now leading an organization.
Yes.
All that
Yes.
stuff
You
creeps
talk
in.
about stress, stressed men. How many men are dealing with trauma? And it's never resolved. Because men have been told, don't cry.
Don't cry.
Don't cry. Men don't cry.
Handling
They've been
grief,
told,
yeah.
handling grief. Everything, every hardship they experience, they
They
suck
absorb
it
it,
in.
yes.
And then we say, oh, just love your family. What do you mean? He has no family, he has pain. Rather, he has no love, he has pain. So what are you telling men? I really feel unless we get intentional about supporting men, I know men feel they don't need support.
I hope
They
the men should be clapping and liking, because we need voices out there. Yeah. At least for our sons. If you're giving up on us, at least for the boys now, future husbands.
How can we have expectations on men out of assumptions? No, we need to be intentional. He's a leader. Are you training your son to be a leader? What is a leader? Commitment, responsibility. That's why I've always told mothers, let your sons make their bed.
They better.
That activity helps a man to learn, a young boy to learn responsibility. Let them wash their face. What are we having now? Men who are breaking their families. This woman is not washing my
underwear, my boxers.
I'm like, before you got married, who was washing?
Who was washing them?
Now I have.
Suddenly.
Yeah. Teach them responsibility. A man, a leader gets involved. A leader gets to know their people. A leader has to be present to know their people. How many dads know their children? How many dads know their children? They only show up when a child is in trouble, and then they say, you can't do this from this family. They are looking at the house and the buildings and the job. No. Do you know your child? Do you know them? Do you know the struggles they have? Do they share their feelings with you? When your son comes and tells you they've gotten a crush, what do you tell them?
That's the
Not do those bad things. I mean, we really need to have that relationship, if you ask me. And we have to train them to be relational. They have to celebrate birthdays when they are little boys, so that they can celebrate the birthday of their wife
and their children. Yeah,
they have to value the power of seemingly small but powerful things.
Even small moments.
Showing them respect.
Yes.
I was at school recently when our son was graduating from primary to secondary.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Right? Big deal.
It's called graduation.
Big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And we are there. And after all that is said, they say, parents, stand behind your children and bless your children. Imagine. And
the absence.
Each child was supposed to have their parents lay hands on them. If not both, one.
Are you saying some, obviously?
Some children.
First of all, dads are not there.
It's mostly moms.
School dads. Because dads consider those things are small. I pay this big, hard.
Send me the pay slip, but handle the soft issues.
So some have to volunteer to lay their hands. And one child said, no, I hate my parents.
Oh.
Yes, I hate my parents because the parents are alive. But one of the point I was making, dad presence in schools, not that. I do parenting sessions in schools. You need to go there and see. The room is full of women because men think those things are too small for them. Right? So some of the things in this perception that society hasn't been intentional about. Now, I will say this way and finish. For instance, in psychology, we believe that people don't change behavior until they understand. Now, the study was done in 2012, and I'm sure more have been done. But it shows that children who have a dad presence are likely to perform better. They perform 3 times better
than those who don't.
Than those who don't have a dad presence. So academic performance, high self-esteem.
Yeah.
This comes from security. My dad is there, he's cheering me
both
on.
girls and
boys. Both girls and boys.
Both girls and boys. Now you talked about being there and your child saying, "Oh, that is
here.
That's my dad. That's my dad." Now, when a child says, this is how they interpret love. They don't interpret love by the pace.
It's presence.
It's presence.
And it's affordable.
And it's affordable. And you just need to shift your priority and be present. High self-esteem. Children who have confidence, high levels of confidence, they have been with their dads. You know, I grew up with my dad. I talked to my dad. I was always with my dad. And no one can threaten me.
No.
I can talk to the president, I don't care. You know, I can say anything.
Build confidence.
And it's not
you were given the space.
I was given the space. And my dad always involved me in conversations around, do you know this, do you know that, this is how this looks like. And then he also was there to hug me. I sat between his legs when I was young, up to, I don't want to be embarrassed here. I was with my dad.
That's a present.
I'm not arrogant, but I am confident. Yeah, I know. You know, he built this emotional stature in me, and I'm okay. So confidence is important, and it is built, much of it is built by that.
And those are some of the qualities for success today.
100%.
Absolutely.
The soft skills get you higher.
That's
People
true.
think that it's the super degree or the A+ in the whatever. It is often the confidence, articulation, the diction, the confidence, the ability for you to express yourself, to raise clarity. People begin to see leaders and promote you faster because of that confidence. So so it means as parents we can actually stifle our children
100%.
and their futures with our absence.
Identity.
Yeah.
You see, we need to know that a child doesn't just take your name. They take your identity. You see? And if your identity is flimsy, they're going to take that.
That's scary.
If you're
That's
hiding
harsh.
and avoidant, they're going to take that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so these are things that parents need to know. Security, we talked about protection. You know?
House ban.
Yes, that's why some children don't sleep until daddy has come. Because they feel, am I safe?
Yeah.
Now, I've had some men, honestly. Recently, I was at a health club, and I'm not saying this so that people run away from me.
Yeah.
I listened in to conversations, and some group of men were having a conversation, and they were one was saying, "Me to go home to do what? Am I going to peel matoke? I just go home, even finding them sleeping. I need to mix with and I listened in. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
And so I had to interject. I said, sorry guys, can I just say something?
That takes confidence.
I know.
I said, do you know what you're doing? Because do you know your children? And he said, I know. I said, who? So when do you connect with
them? Yeah.
You know them.
You find them asleep.
You find them asleep. Now, if you're going home every night, connecting with the boys, and you go every night when they are sleeping, you leave in the morning when they are rushing, or you rush them to school. Dads, by their nature, usually don't have so much conversation with children in the morning. When they grow, what are they going to say?
What will they say?
Because you are an absent dad.
Yeah.
Now, these are some of the things society has reinforced. A man doesn't have to go home early. You know that. You know, do they? Are they going to peel matoke? That's not what it means.
So you may look weak by being a home guy. 5 p.m. you're rushing home. It could be a sign of weakness.
But you don't know what you're doing in terms of nurturing and building strong relations and strong generations and children that have a strong identity who are not saying, where is daddy? How does daddy look like? Because that's why we're having a crisis, an identity
It is a crisis.
So children don't just take a dad's name, they take their identity.
Wow.
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
so that's why I always
scary.
I ask dads, I ask moms, I say, if your child turned out exactly the way you are,
Would you be happy? Yes. Yes. I think, wow. You had a whole monologue there. No, it was necessary.
She
You're very
got it.
passionate.
Well,
Yeah, no, it was very necessary. And I think to challenge society in saying we are the ones, so we disempower men and then expect. Yes, so we are not sowing, but we are expecting mangoes and bananas and all these things.
And we're also encouraging them through discouragement.
Exactly.
There's
you
no
know,
one colleague who learns by being told
how dumb
Oh,
they are.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Puts them down.
It doesn't work
Why
like
don't
that.
you be better? I've always asked,
Man up.
Man up.
Ooh.
what kind of man are you?
Yeah.
Really, like you want your husband to go out?
And you hear about a Nigerian thing and you bring it home.
Yeah.
You hope it will encourage the man. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
That's what I
It really
always ask
doesn't.
my sisters. What do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
You think someone they're not man enough, so that they can be man enough.
Yeah.
The
It doesn't
irony
inspire.
doesn't inspire. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But I think one of the things that you said, and I would like for us to end on this note,
Yeah.
is that you need to challenge what society and culture
Yeah.
is telling you.
Yeah.
What seems normal, what seems popular, what is seemingly trendy. Challenge it in the privacy of your, I guess, of your heart. We all do some kind of self-evaluation. But why must I behave the way society is telling me to behave? Because we can sit here and say, who is society? Society is you and me. It's the conversations we have when we're having coffee with our friends. It's the banter in the office. It's, wherever it is that we spend our time. The conversations we have reinforce how we then behave at home, how we treat our partners, our idea of fatherhood and our idea of being a husband.
Yeah.
And so in terms of changing patterns, and this would be my final question to you, what do you think we can do? I mean, Dr. Evers, you've labored to explain how we are shooting ourselves in the foot. We want present fathers and dads, but then we are not empowering them.
Yeah.
But also, when we create platforms for empowerment, the men also don't show up because they have this idea that if I just provide,
I'm sorted.
I'm sorted, So how do we begin to change this pattern? What are some small, little practical things that we can do at an individual level, at a macro level, in the churches, in the different spaces that we spend our time in as we close this conversation?
You want me to go?
Yeah, please go first.
I think we can do a lot as husbands and as fathers. And I think just remembering that we're not just providers, but that our presence is key. And I think remembering that, like I mentioned to you earlier, that presence is a gift you can give every day. It's a gift you can give affordably every day. And it really just takes managing your time. It's a lot about attention management. Have you heard about something called attention economy?
Yeah.
Right now, the biggest challenge we have now is attention economy. Everybody's on a smartphone. Everybody's on a screen. Everybody's on a tablet. While you're driving, you're on a phone, you're on social media. I mean, there's something competing for our attention every time. And there'll always be something. But prioritizing your life and saying, this is important for me. That my wife is important for me. My children are important for me. That realization dawns back to a father saying, it's time to leave the boys. I've hugged the boys for an hour. Maybe now it's time to go home. And it can actually be a balance. Because the truth is, we need the boys, okay? We need the boys, and I hang out a lot with
Mr.
Rachel, with Mr. Mwine, and we boys need each other because we have some boy things. There are even days I drive my wife to a girl thing because she comes back happy.
Yeah,
she comes back energized.
Feels,
Maybe she has gossiped, I don't know, or she has had a good time.
Oh,
but
dear Lord.
just enjoy being
it's
together.
our company.
We also love being together.
Yeah.
But knowing that you need to manage your time and knowing when to prioritize. And that's really around managing the attention economy. I think it's important for us to really manage the things that are competing around us. Because I can tell you, right now you see that, I'm a Rotarian right now. I'm supposed to be actually in a Rotary Club. They're meeting right now, but I couldn't. It was a difficult one. But there's going to be Rotary, there's going to be church. You're going to be so busy in church that you're not a present father.
It's a noble thing, but...
Yeah. You're in the choir the whole week, then you are in this thing, but you're not present. So you are an active Christian who is an absentee father and husband. Sounds like a Sounds like a paradox.
Oxymoron,
Oxymoron.
yeah.
Sounds like how do the two exist? But they can exist. But it's all about attention management. It's all about the attention economy. So I think that the small things you need to do is really the realization that I need to make time. And that sometimes even affordable is enough.
Yeah.
Small is enough. It is how to make the small moments matter. And I think those small presence, be there for the parents-teacher conference, be there for that competition, be available at the end of term concert. I think that's a big deal. And it's also value for your money. You're going to see where your money is going anyway. But you're also adding value to your child's presence. And then also quantity versus quality time. I think if you picked 10 women, I think 8 go for quality time. I don't know if that's...
Absolutely.
Yeah?
We're here. We're
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
You want quality time.
Yes.
So oftentimes the men shouldn't be worried about quantity, because sometimes we are worried that you need to be there all the time, because you must make some money. You must go and make a gig somewhere. You must go and sell something. You must go to the farm. So quantity may be difficult, but quality time is possible, because you can actually get home, and in that 1 hour you're intentional. The phone is off. The TV is off. So another small thing I advise men to do, and which I try to practice, which is not easy after 20 years of marriage, is active listening. My character is easily distractible. But for me to stop when my wife says, Colin, how was your day? There's that question that wives ask.
Yeah.
So how was your day? It's like a standard question.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of our marriage, I was stressed by that question. Because
what am I supposed to say?
And there was no accident. Nobody died.
There was no emergency.
There was no emergency.
Yeah.
Nobody got sacked. My day
So it was fine.
She said, fine is not enough.
Yeah.
She
It
says,
really
tell
isn't.
me
Tell me
who
the
you met.
story.
Yes.
Tell me about your work. What did you enjoy? How was your journey back? And I'm thinking, so I'm learning to be a conversationist now,
Yeah.
after 20 years of marriage, because my wife expects some content from the question.
Right. High five,
She
Estella.
expects,
I'm with you on that
she
one.
expects, now I've graduated, look me in the eyes and connect. The trigger man has had to spring up. But I think quantity should not scare the men. We're really scared about quantity, by the way. But quality is another one. But you can really make the small moments count. You can be there for your children, watch TV. My son just wants to watch TV with me sometimes.
Oh.
He wants me to tuck him in bed and talk.
Yeah.
That's affordable. I can fix an invoice for that one. Right? I may be tired sometimes, but my wife just tells me, Colin, I think he wants to be. Then come for his mother, by the way. He'll come and say, Daddy,
Boys will do that.
I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting up for you to come home.
Wow.
So after this show, I've got to get home.
Okay.
Right? Because I've got
He's
to
waiting
show
for
up
you.
and put some credit.
Yes.
Because he wants to. He says, but Daddy, you promised. You promised to be home with me. So small things matter. I think you're asking.
Yep.
Active listening is important. Making sure that quality time is not necessarily quantity time. It is quality, and you make that time happen because you're there, you're present, you're not distracted. And I think men are distracted. You're actually physically there, but not there.
Yes.
So you can actually be present, but not actively present.
Yeah.
You're there in body, but you're not really there because kids want to engage with you. They want to hear what you're thinking. The women want quality time, not time just. Time is, but they want quality time. And that stresses us by the sometimes we're thinking, man, I am providing. What does she want? How can I make this woman happy? But she just wants you to stop to talk about the day. And I usually notice that after talking about my day and listening to her, she just seems to give me, she actually gives me some space because I've heard her, she has heard from me, we've exchanged how the day was, and there's been some accountability in that mode. Suddenly, I can actually go off and do something. But she wanted to connect. So I think that small things really matter. The small moments matter. You don't have to go to Dubai. Please go to Rukunjiri. I keep saying Rukunjiri because you know where we come from. Go.
Behind the eyes.
Yes.
That's Dubai.
It's affordable, right? Create your own Dubai, right? Create your own Dubai.
The women are shaking their heads. They're saying,
We have to go. We need the plan. We need to go shopping. The men must be thinking, I can afford that. I can handle that.
Yeah.
But so I think it's the small things that really matter. But it comes with a lot of being intentional.
For sure.
And even for me, I think I'm still a student. I really want to make sure that's captured. Yeah. I am a student of relationship. But I'm just reminded that even God was present in the Garden of Eden.
That's right.
In Genesis chapter 3, they would hear him. Adam and Eve would hear him walk in the cool of the day. He wanted to affirm that he's around. He is present. You're secure. I've got you. I'm your daddy. I'm around. So presence is everything. It's a godly thing. It's been passed on to us. And I honestly think it's affordable because it comes back to finances oftentimes for us men. So the small things matter. If you can't do a village trip or a nice game park trip, do a small thing but with them. I have seen couples, now maybe as my closing is, I was one time driving in a government car. So you're in a government car, you know how it is. It's air conditioned, you're driving. But I was on the bypass and I was alone and I was trying to get home in the rain. And then I saw a couple with their son and they were holding just husband and wife holding their son, but they were conversing in the rain. They were talking, they were walking. Me, I was in a government car and you're driving. But I felt, what am I doing here? I began to admire that connection. I saw them walking in the rain with no worry in the world. Their kid was kicking stones, moving, and the parents are both holding. They looked like they were communicating, they were connecting. My last thing, so being present is that communication. So I want to just end with communication, I think. It's important for men to just learn that communication is the currency of marriage as a husband. When communication goes away, a marriage will begin to die. And Evas knows this better than me, Dr. Evas, that most of the issues that will come here will be communication issues.
They are.
But communication is related directly with presence.
Yes.
I mean, okay, you can text all day, but I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And so if the currency of marriage is absent, there will be a problem. So I think for men, my parting shots would really be around just being present, active listening. Communication is key. And that doesn't cost money. There's no invoice on that one. You get home on time, share your thoughts. In fact, share your fears. Share your fears and share your thoughts with your wife. It's an amazing way to connect. That way she understands also what's on your mind. You manage your stress levels by coming home and sharing, and she now becomes your partner. So the husband is not just a provider. He is also a priest, but he's also a partner. He wants to have a partner he can work with. And how do you build all those partnerships? You must be present.
You must be present.
You must be present.
And I dare say presence is a form of provision. I know
I like that. I like the way you said that.
We don't put like an invoice or what. But it is a form of provision. And like you say, it doesn't cost much. It's provision that will cost you. And then there's the one that won't. And I love that you emphasize that you are a student of relationships. You're on a journey because there are many men who consider themselves students, but maybe the wives are not appreciating that there's been some improvement. You know, in the first years, maybe he used not to talk. Now he can afford 2 lines.
A B+.
Hey,
you can pull up your socks. You're
on the right track. You know, I mean, you said something about distraction, and I remember something Ben used to do a lot. I would be talking to him and telling him stuff, and maybe he would be on his phone or looking out at cars. And I'd be like,
like me.
Like you. So I'll be like, but you're not listening to me. He's like, but I can repeat back what you have said. I'm like, it's not the same.
No, it is. Listen with your eyes.
I don't care if you can repeat back what I have said. Look at me. You know, turn your body towards me. So
look me in the eyes.
Look me.
We're students, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
That connection is still key. But by the way, there's addiction in adults. Phone addiction.
Oh my goodness.
We're still, parents are addicted. So we're talking about our children.
But
we are the ones who are addicted.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that digital boundaries are key. Another tip, really. Having digital boundaries. Knowing when to stop. Have I learned that yet? No. Right.
You're on that journey.
I'm struggling.
And you're executive director for IT. So really.
You're thinking the bank is on fire, the bank is on fire. You want to know what's going on, what's happened with Trump, what's happened in Israel, because it's going to impact this and that. But there's a time to stop.
Absolutely.
There's a time to put that phone down. There's a time to connect.
And
have a digital boundary and connect, active listening. I think it's powerful.
It is.
Because you're not the manager of the universe.
You really
we're not God, are we?
No.
Many Holy Spirit. So Colin, you've
Thank
said it all. Thank you so much. I just wanted to amplify 1 or 2 things. Mindset change. If you ask me, men need to change their mind. Women need to change the way they look at men. Because unless we achieve that, we are headed nowhere. That's why we are struggling with provision. Yes, because generations are moving, women are earning, but now men is providing. My role is to provide. That's why they are absent. trying to make economics make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So we need to do mindset change. Secondly, I talked about challenging stereotypes. Challenging stereotypes, unless we are intentional, we're going to hell. Because you cannot keep pursuing a stereotype that is not more, is not, it's no longer relevant, but it's also not helpful.
It doesn't hold, yeah.
It's not, it doesn't matter how nice it makes you feel. It's no longer relevant. It doesn't work. And so if we don't do this, we're headed nowhere.
Yeah.
Thirdly, core relationships. We've just talked about these core relationships. These core relationships, I have to once again emphasize it. Colin and Rachel, about 2 months ago, I was invited to launch our, we have a program called Retirement Planning Beyond Finances. Okay? Because you know that everyone is now save here,
Yes,
circle
yes,
here,
yes.
unit trust and all.
And bonds,
and
yeah.
people are, and people have money in retirement and they are stranded. So I was invited to speak to a group of people that were retiring in a week. I've never seen an amount of sadness, confusion,
anxiety,
all in one place. Because, and I tried as much as possible to get into their hearts and find out what, no one was worried about money. No.
It wasn't financial.
They weren't worried about money. They had good packages, they had worked for a long time, they had built, they had that. They were all worried about relationships.
Yes, friends,
community, but their families, most importantly, because some of them, their wives had, especially men, their wives had moved on. And you know, we have this trend now where when men, especially when they are still young, 40s, 30s, 40s, they don't pay attention to core relationships, to family, my friends, boys, money and all. Then, as they age, they notice, hey, relationships are important. Unfortunately, there's something called too late. Now, in relational science, people will detach from you irrespective of how related you are. You see? Yeah. So now men have worked so much, then they've realized they don't have relationships with their children. They have no relationship with their wives. Now there's this trend coming up where women, they've cried for attention, they wanted your presence, you're not there, then they give up. Then they hang in there for the children. Then they bond with the children.
When the kids go,
you create that bond because now we call it emotional incest in psychology.
Oh boy!
But now they
sounds very harsh.
Yes, it's harsh, but that's what it is. So now you find that intimate conversations you're having them with your children instead of with your partner, and so it's dangerous. But let's focus on the positive. They connect with children because relationships are built by presence and connection. So, towards the end, when Mr. Husband is retiring, the children, if they are girls or boys, they are having children. Now, the mom says, I have to go to take care of the grandchild because they are coming. Yes. Now, that's what is coming up. Yes, they do. They do. Because you disconnected.
Yeah.
So, you don't retire to a stranger. They move on. So now that's when you're showing up and you want to be present, and they've moved on. They've also built community. Men were complaining about how their wives are in mothers' union, some women group, because that's where they connected, where you were not there. So
now you're back.
Now you're back. Now you're back to the loneliness you planted when you were working.
Oh boy.
So that's what happens. And I pray that no one will go that direction because you see, research again is showing us that that's why there's so much loneliness in retired men because they didn't nurture relationships. So pay attention to that. Yeah. Finally, Rachel, I really want to call on the world. I don't know who I'm asking.
Yeah.
They need to pay attention to men. We cannot expect so much from men when we are not investing as much.
That's true.
I want to ask whoever is listening in this country, next Father's Day, let's amplify it as much as we amplify Women's Day. You see, why are we talking about dads being the core, yet you're not recognizing them? I listened recently when it was Father's Day, and I was like, look at this. Who is talking about all these benefits we have been talking about? That when a father is present, this is what happens. This is how the children, behavior issues in children are not there because there is an authority, and all these benefits. I would want to see a platform where we can stand and make a presentation. Maybe you ask me to make a presentation about this, because I believe information is power. And so we talk about how men are important. We cannot keep belittling men and all this male bashing, and then we expect that men are going to rise up
To the occasion.
to the occasion. I really believe, and I mean it, we just need to do something to amplify, to encourage them, to inspire men, to nurture boys, intentionally knowing that we are raising family leaders.
Amen to that indeed. Wow, what a show. What a show. Thank you both for sharing so passionately. Colin, for allowing us to peek into your home and into your journey.
My journey.
You know, because you're still a student. We appreciate you even just sharing with us. Thank Estella for us and your lovely children. Thank you, Dr. Evers, for speaking with such passion and conviction. And I hope that this message lands in the hearts of those of you who are watching, to do something. And I think question the things that you hear, question the culture that you see around you, question the stereotypes, and just purpose to do something different that will hopefully get you different results. Because what do they say about insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You know? Yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. If you haven't done that already, please do. And of course, we enjoy hearing from you. We love your feedback, so please keep it coming. And we'll see you back again next week on Reality Check. Until then, stay well and stay healthy.